Today I will be talking about appropriate technology in the math classroom. Before we start, I should define appropriate technology. It's a science or technology considered reasonable and suitable for a particular purpose that conforms to existing cultural, economic, environmental, and social conditions. So why is it important? New technology is being introduced and invented every day. As a teacher, it's your responsibility to prepare students for the future, and that includes future technologies that they could use. If you don't really use any technology besides the obvious calculator one, don't be afraid to ask if there are workshops to find new technologies, or if you don't know how to use it, try to find a workshop that will help you learn it, because it's your responsibility, because nobody else is probably going to show them how to use it. But don't also be afraid to use technology, because technology is becoming more and more important in our society. It is also vital that you implement these tools in a way to produce positive results, because if they're used appropriately, they can be used as an aid to help spark deeper thinking, develop basic skills, or help reinforce a lesson. So in elementary school, talking about calculators aren't appropriate when learning basic facts, such as multiplication, division, adding, subtracting, because what does that do for the students? They aren't actually learning how to add or multiply them together. They're just learning how to type it in the calculator and then trusting the calculator to give them the correct answer. But calculators aren't the only technologies available. There's other ones that I'll talk about a little later. Elementary students should use technology that can be used in real-world purposes, because we're born to be engineers. We like hands-on activities and solving problems. Before selecting software technology, you should examine and research the technology to make sure you know what's expected, like hardware requirements, how much technical support you'll need, how much it'll be used, or just how you will implement it into your curriculum. It's important in elementary schools to integrate technology into your curriculum so students know how math relates to the real life, and so we don't have high school students constantly asking, when am I going to use this in life? How does this relate to me? Because if we start them young, then they will know that it's important to know, and that they'll relate to it somehow. Technology should also be used to get a deeper understanding of concepts as well. So talking about more appropriate use, they shouldn't be used for drill and practice. That's not what technology should be used for. Studies show that tutorials work, so you could create a tutorial for your students to watch. If they didn't quite understand the lesson in class, they could watch it and maybe get more out of it. Technology should reinforce mathematical concepts and encourage critical thinking. They shouldn't entertain students. Your technology of your choice, if they're picking a laptop or a tablet, if they're playing games on it, then it's not appropriate. Appropriate technology should be a tool to increase the relevance, and make sure to emphasize learning with the technology, not the technology doing all the learning. It's very important so students know that they're learning, not the technology. Some calculator pros. It's best when used along with paper and pencil, so the old-fashioned way works. In a study by Hembry and Desart, they found that calculators help improve skills in exercises and problem solving. In the National Mathematics Advisory report, they found little to no influence of calculators on computational skills, problem solving, or conceptual development. Calculators can help improve skills and improve attitudes towards math. And some calculator cons: they can become the calculators can become a crutch if not used appropriately. Like, if they've used them all their lives, they won't know how to do basic facts and simply go to the calculator because it'll give the right answer. Many students use calculators because they are fast and don't require a lot of thinking. But once again, they could also easily type something into the calculator wrong and they'd never know because they wouldn't have that sense of, well, if I type in 2 times 5 and I get 30, that it wouldn't make sense to anybody that would know basic facts. So, okay, you should use a calculator after understanding the basic concept. So there are different types of technology. There's 3 of them. The data-driven technology, using virtual manipulatives and allowing representation of mathematical principles, motivating, and skill building and practice. So here are some examples of these technologies. Spreadsheets would be more data-driven technologies for upper level students because they can create graphs and charts and just analyze data that they can collect. Other basic calculators like the 4 operations, or not like scientific or graphing calculators, but then you have your graphing calculators probably used for upper level and college math. There's geometry programs, which would be like virtual manipulatives, and Geometry Sketchpad is an example of that, where you can create shapes and just show. It's a great tool to show relationships between shapes, like if you move a side, then the area gets bigger, and I really like that tool. There's also FAST with 2 T's, that stands for Fluency and Automacy through Teaching and Technology. It can be used for students with special needs who may or may not be very good at basic facts. It's kind of like a drill and practice type software, but it's not drilling. It's more practice, and it's the right amount of practice for students that are just coming upon developing their basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, facts, and addition stuff. So that would be like an elementary school software program that can be used, and they found success in it too. Some more examples would be like Tinker Plots, Kidspiration, Inspiration, Inspire Data. Those are some more of the data-driven ones where either students can collect their own data and analyze it, create charts, whatever you want to do with it, or they could actually get data and collect it and put it in the program and use it to do those same things, whatever you wanted to do with the technology. Wolfram Alpha is a website. You can type in pretty much anything in there and it'll give you a result, but it's really good for mathematics because if you're stuck on a problem, you could type it in and they can show you, like, if it was like a graph, they'll show you a graph, they'll show you how to solve your problem, and there's a bunch of tutorials on there also that you can look at if they need to. Technology that would fall under like motivating, skill building, and for practice would be software similar to video games, because we know everybody loves video games, and so if the technology requires them to like secretly learn hidden learning in the game, and as they progress, like they get rewarded because they beat a level, so then they get to the next level and it gets harder, just like video games. Some other resources for the virtual manipulatives would be the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives. You just go to Google and search that and it should pop up. Or there's the National Library of Virtual manipulatives at the Shodor Foundation. Those are on the handout brochure, if you want to look at that. And those are more specifically designed for like younger kids. I've looked at it, but I haven't gone too in depth with those. But those would be a good resource for your classroom. There's all kinds of things like shapes and graphs and everything. So those are technologies that you could use in your math classroom. Hopefully you use them appropriately too. And here's my references.